Hello once again, this is Dave Knight here at Knight Capital Management. I want to welcome you to our continued series here on our E-mini Bull Bear basic method. This is our free method that you're watching right now, and we are continuing. Today's topic is going to be on the 50 bar MA, the 200 bar MA, and the prior day high and low. We talked on last video about spike reversals, and we talked about moving average crossovers. View the last video to learn a little bit more about that if you're watching this. So we've kind of broke down, if this is the first one that you're seeing, we've taken the bar chart and we moved all the way up to this point. So if you're a little confused, go back to the beginning and work your way through. So let's go ahead and handle the 50 bar MA to start with. Okay, so we see the 50 bar MA, and it's signified by this gray dotted line, the dotted line through here are gray, and this is telling us our 50 bar MA, and you can see at the close of, and this is 11:30 once again, was at 10.85 1/4. Now it's kind of smoothing it out a little bit, so you can see there's an uptrend here, and there's a continued downtrend, and then it started to move up towards the end of the day. Now this by itself really doesn't really help you too much, but if we add in our 200 bar MA, we can get a kind of a better direction of which way the trend is moving. Alright, now that we've added our 200 bar MA, let me get a drawing tool out real quick. So we see the 200 bar MA signified by this dark brown line, and now we see our 50 bar MA, and we see the difference between the two, correct? Now if the 200 bar MA is here and your 50 bar MA is here, what do you think is the direction of the overall trend? When you think that right now you're looking at, as it relates to the 5-minute bars, we're seeing a downtrend. So the trend, as we would determine it now, our longer term time frame that we'd be talking into terms of trends and counter trends. Now this move here then would be a trend move. This move right here is counter trend, and this move late in the day is counter trend as well. Even though it's still making a move and it crossed over 200 bar MA, it's still a counter trend move, as I would call a trend. Here's your trend move down, here's a counter trend end of the day, and here's a counter trend at the beginning of the day. So you see our three major trends, and then obviously we know that we talked about this before. Here's your trading range. Your trading range is right in here. This is the area that you want to stay away from, correct? So this is the area that we're staying away from. So now we know what our trend is, as I would determine a trend. On our 5-minute bar chart, we know that this and this signifies that right now, longer term, on our longer term time frame here, that we're looking at a downtrend. So we're talking in terms of trends and counter trends. So if we're looking at the 50 bar MA, now we can kind of determine maybe when a good time perhaps to get involved in a trade. We can see our crossover, this 50 bar, maybe a possible long right here, counter trend. Here is a possible short closing below. We talked about the moving average crossovers, and now we have the red bar showing, and now we see a possible short through here, giving us further evidence of a downward movement. And then end of the day, we see that we have a crossover here outside of our trading range. Remember, this is our trading range, and we see a crossover on our 50 bar MA. Here's your 50 bar right through here, coming through there, going through there. And now you see that we have the ability to trade, perhaps looking at a trade here, looking at a trade here, and then at the end of the day looking at a trade here. So let's move on to our next subject here. We want to talk about the prior day high and the prior day low. Now the prior day high simply means it's the high of the day prior to the day that we're trading. In this case, today is 11:30. The high of the market here on the day before, this green dotted line across the screen, is letting you know this is 11:29. Now one thing you can determine here is that we've never crossed above our high for the day, you can see it stayed inside the high of the previous day. So right now what we're looking at is an inside bar on the high. So let's go ahead and add in the short side of this. The prior day low. So you can't even see the prior day low right now. So what we also know is that we're traded an inside day if we look at the daily chart, and I'll show that in a minute. Let's bring the charts in a little bit so you can see the low here. So here's the red dotted line through here, and this is signifying the low of the previous day. So we have the green dotted line letting us know the high of the previous day, and the red dotted line letting us know the low of the previous day. So what we can tell about November 30th is that it was an inside trading day. Now what we're looking at here is the daily chart. And this might help you see it a little bit better. You can see that we didn't cross over our high or the low of the previous day. And this right here would be major resistance, signified by an R. This is our green dotted line. And then down below here we have major support, and this is the low of the previous day. So when the charts open up, you have your major support and you have your major resistance. Now looking at the next day, this is 12/1 that you're looking at right here. You can see that we have a gap open and we're above, in this case would be, here's your previous day high, we're above that. And we'll talk about more of that later on, but so you understand that we have major resistance and major support. Here R resistance, R up here resistance, support down below, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Okay, now we've shifted back to our 5-minute bar chart here on November 30th. So what we know about today is that obviously it stayed inside day in between our support line down here and our resistance line up here. This is major resistance up here, and this is a major support down here. Now we can determine where minor support would be. Minor support obviously come into this area, and you could see that we had some resistance through here as the day finished up. The morning come through here, and then it wasn't able to break through later in the day. So we kind of determined. So let's review a little bit here. In quick review, we've learned a little bit more about the 50 bar MA. We learned about the 200 bar MA. We talked about the direction of the trend. In this case, we talked about trend and counter trend. Last but not least, we talked about our green line being major resistance and our red line being major support. This is Dave Knight here at Knight Capital Management. Our next video, we're going to bring in the concept of the average daily range, the upper and the lower, and also take a little bit about the CCI line if we have time. Dave Knight here at Knight Capital Management. We'll talk to you soon. Good trading, everybody. If there's any questions, please feel free to let us know at support@knightcapitalmanagement.com. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video real soon.